and you know, when they assemble them, they have these huge, several 100-foot long windmill assemblies that they ship out into the Atlantic by barge. Am I remembering that incorrectly? Because I think that
I think what it is, they transport what they were saying. I picked it up as being that they transport it by rail or truck to the pier. Not that they transport them by rail or truck any place else than other to a pier where we go on a barge.
So we're talking about the windmills.
Yeah.
So this is talking about the components coming in individually as opposed to the assembly going out? Because the finished assembly is basically the windmill that they have to stand up.
I believe that was going to be done by barge. That's what the interest is.
Yeah, it said by that, the assembly. The things would come into the facility by truck, perhaps, but the finished assemblies, I think they specifically said those have to go on barge, which is why they want the deep port. Because when they assemble these things, they're very big. So that's my recollection, and I don't know if we need to correct the minutes on that.
Let me interrupt, Stephanie. I don't think you can correct the minutes. I mean, we'll put it in these minutes. Is that what you remember? Mm-hmm. But if the minutes say what she wrote, you know, that's mostly for correcting an error, a typo, not for adding something. But put it in tonight's minutes, and that's what you recall.
Unless this is not verbatim, so it might have been a misinterpretation of what somebody said. But okay, I'm fine either way.
But now it's in these, like Stephanie said, it's in these tonight's minutes, and that was Nick Zachary speaking. Any other corrections?
We should say our names before we speak every time? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank
please.
you. And a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're moving on to the workshop, not the workshop, the May 5th board meeting. Any corrections, concerns?
Nothing.
I have nothing.
Okay.
I'm good.
And a motion?
So moved.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
So that's the May 5th meeting, board meeting has been approved. Next is comments from the floor, agenda items only. I don't know if anybody else is on this evening. I don't think so. Okay. So,
Cindy, no phone calls?
No phone calls.
okay. What I would like to do, I'd like to change the order right now under the new business. Right now we have D, discussion on peddler permits for the ice cream truck. There seemed to be a lot of concern with that. We discussed it last Tuesday at our workshop meeting, so I'd like to address that right up front. And what I'd like to say is the board got into a discussion last Tuesday about vendor permits, and the ice cream truck is a vendor permit. So, and really what the crux of that was is I saw a truck last year, again this year, going around with no permit. So that concerned me, and I mentioned to the board that we needed to talk about our vendor permit. What are the things that we look for? So we ask for these things because we want whatever vendor, whether it's an ice cream truck or hot dog truck, whatever it is that comes into the village, we want to make sure that they have the proper licensing. They have a health department certificate. The person driving the truck, do they have a driver's license? And I know these things sound silly, but you'd be surprised. Do they have proper insurance? So we do these things because we want to make sure that whoever comes into our village as a vendor, it's for your safety, it's for your welfare, it's for your health. You know, we're concerned about that. So looking at our vendor permits, we didn't ask for a lot of those things. So that's how the whole discussion went, you know, what should be in the vendor permit, because before this we didn't really have anything in there. So that's how the discussion started. So in the meantime, a gentleman came in to apply for a permit. So I know some people have said they've seen 2 trucks out now. One of the trucks, there was one truck, I will tell you now, that does not have a permit, that did not have a permit last year. that still does not have a permit this year. But then we have another gentleman who's come in to apply for the permit, do the thing properly, and that's what we want. So I know some people had also mentioned that, oh, you know, the village needs the money with the permit. The permit is $150. So the permit is not a lot of money, but it's just so we know that that person is operating safely and in accordance to certain rules. Some of the other things we would ask is that there's hours of operation. So I know you think I'm crazy when I say this, but you certainly don't want someone going through your neighborhood at 11 o'clock at night. You don't know. People are funny. So there's hours of operation. So we just wanted to set some type of to get people to make sure it's safe and to make sure there's hours of operation. That's what that was about. The conversation did go further because we had just discussed the pool, we had just discussed the camp. So tonight we're going to we're going to talk about the peddler permit, the ice cream truck. There is a gentleman that is coming in for the permit tomorrow. He's coming in, he's doing everything legal, and if he has all the information that he needs, he will get his permit. So, and also I wanted to put this out to the board. How does the board feel?
Can I just interrupt 1 second again?
Sure.
This is Stephanie.
Yes, Stephanie.
I haven't taken a look at your application for a vendor permit, and I probably should.
Send that out.
You
okay.
Did? Okay. Well, I have about
no problem,
emails.
Stephanie.
But I'd like to look at it before we have the gentleman come in because
absolutely.
You know, there's some specific requirements. I mean, like you want to know about a criminal background, and that's legal, and you should.
Oh, okay.
And all the other things you mentioned, but I have one that I put together from taking it from other places. I didn't reinvent the wheel, and I'd like to pass it along for your review. So I don't know what time the gentleman is coming in.
It's sometime later tomorrow. So, but you know what? We'll talk to him about it. Cindy or Sharon will talk to him. But yeah, I did send that out for comments to see what else needed to be added on. And that's a good point. That's why I sent it to you. But obviously you didn't get it. I'm sorry. I apologize. But
no, it might could have just missed it.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm glad we're talking about it tonight.
So
we'll get that resolved.
So this is Marcus. If the board is willing to entertain an ice cream vendor that meets all the requirements, I'm just saying maybe we have the discussion today. Put all the caveats we want to put in the procedure now, because or he has to wait till July's meeting. That way he can go out there. So that's why I just want to throw that out there. All the items that was listed by the mayor, the background check that Stephanie just mentioned, and just say that he has to meet all these guidelines before a permit is issued. That way we don't have to wait for another month. But that's the board's decision.
No, I think we'd like to get him out on the road. People enjoy having the ice cream truck. Ice cream makes everyone happy.
Yep.
Teresa, can I do something?
Sure, absolutely. Yes. Dwayne? Yes, Dwayne. Just Dwayne Jackson now.
Dwayne Jackson. Just looking at the information that he's given us, he gives us VIN number, but he doesn't have the license plate number of different trucks, the license plate numbers. I think it's helpful just to have that as part of the information. And then also, I think someone mentioned earlier the hours of operation, but the dates. I mean, is it going to go from now till September to November? What is the permit? What's the duration of the permit?
My understanding is a yearly permit.
Okay.
So, but I don't see anybody out in December doing that. I don't know how much business they would drum up at that point.
Yeah. Okay. No, I was just wondering what it looks like.
Okay.
They usually close those up maybe a couple of weeks after Labor Day. You start not seeing many of them. So I don't think he's going to be around all year. But anyway.
And if there's a late hot spell, sometimes they open up again.
Yeah. That's what they usually. They usually shut it down like a week after Labor Day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. That the term of the permit. You're saying for 1 year. So that would take it from this July to next July, something like that.
Cindy, I am going to ask you a question.
Yes.
That's usually what
I
we
know.
do. It's a yearly?
Well,
or is
actually, we ended it at the end of December this time.
Okay. All right, that's
Better.
fine.
That's good.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
May I ask a question?
Sure. Sure, Zachary.
Giving him a permit does not require board approval now that we've discussed it. So long as he meets these criteria and whatever Stephanie's concerns are, I don't think this has to come back to the board, does it?
No.
Okay.
We're
So
approving that a vendor can come
I,
in.
for one, say go ahead. Just, check what needs to be checked with the application. And if there's any questions that Stephanie had regarding background that needs to be checked. Is that the case when we do vendor permits? We check background?
We never did before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if he's got all the paperwork, I don't know that we need to. Do you think we do, Stephanie? You think we need to do that?
I mean, I think that's up to you.
Hey, Steph?
I mean, that's up to you. I don't know how much, I don't know what the concerns are regarding contact with, children or anybody else. Most people just ask the question. You want it on paper. Have you ever been convicted of a felony? No.
Hey, Stephanie?
Yeah.
Hi, this is Cheech. I'm just wondering, wouldn't the person that's putting him out on the road do that?
I don't know. I don't know who's going on the road. Is this like a part of a business, or is this a sole proprietor with one truck? I know nothing about what these trucks are doing.
There's two trucks, Nick. On this permit application, there's two trucks.
There's two
He
trucks.
could be himself plus somebody else on another truck.
Yeah.
This is Cindy. He told me his wife is going to be driving a truck.
Oh, so it's him and his wife.
Yes, that's my understanding.
And this is Marcus. What we can do is on the background check is interesting. Don't forget, he gets a county permit first to sell ice cream, so we can check with the county to see if the county required a background check as well.
Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Good idea.
Oh,
Yep.
good. So
Do
if
you
they
have-
did, we
That's
don't
a
have
good
to.
But
Do you have a
and-
fee in place for this type of permit?
It's
Is that
Cindy. It's $125 a year.
Okay, just checking.
So another thing, can we stop the person that's out there without a vending permit? Is there any reason why we're not having the police stop them and tell them they can't sell on the street until they get a permit?
That'll definitely be communicated with the police to check with the permits, absolutely.
Yep. Okay.
This was Marcus. The only other thing is, as the mayor brought up, is hours of operation. Do you want them to stop by a certain time so we can make that a requirement as part of the permit as well?
I don't know what.
What's our noise ordinance is what, 8 o'clock or dusk? Or
7.
What is it?
At 7. But
Yeah, no, but you want them to come in the evening. I would say, do we go with dusk, with when it's dark? Dusk.
I think dusk is safe. Honestly, if anybody has a problem with this, please get back to us. We're open. We're willing to discuss things. But I think for a safety issue, to have a truck out late and the kids running to the truck, I don't know.
My suggestion to keep it simple is let's just pick a time, let's say 8 o'clock or something, because who's going to be, if it's a cloudy day, who's going to be measuring when the sun went down and interpreting what dusk means? The amount of light can change if it's a sunny day or a cloudy day.
But
so
in the summer, it
just
can get dark at 8:45, 8:45. You know what I mean? It can be late. So to cut it off at 8 is kind of,
too early.
Yeah, I mean,
I say 9 o'clock. I say 9. I say 9.
All right, and just so everybody understands, let's come back to why we do this. We're concerned for the safety of the residents, so we're not trying to be mean. We're just trying to protect the residents. That's what our job is, the safety and welfare of the residents. So we're just trying to get this so everybody is okay. I do want to mention something else on their truck. He has a picture on the truck. It has attention. Stop the spread of COVID-19. Mask is required. Keep 6 feet apart at all times. So that's pretty nice on the truck. Just a reminder to people too. That's all. Okay. So we're going to have the new application for this person, and then the other person that hasn't been so good about coming in to get a permit, we'll catch up with him too.
Yes.
Okay. So everybody's good with an ice cream truck
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm fine with it.
because ice cream makes us happy. Okay. So let's go back to new business. Consider a motion to open the public hearing regarding local law amending Chapter 166, 163 of the Code of the Village of Buchanan, and this is in reference to dumpster fees. Marcus, would you like to discuss anything on that?
Sure. We discussed this a couple meetings ago, and we opened a public hearing. But this will be a new local law and a fee schedule. Sent to the board a spreadsheet of all the locations with the number of dumpsters. Bob actually triple checked to make sure we had the correct number, and I put an estimated fee of $30 per pickup. Of course, that's up to the board to decide if that's a reasonable number, or they can increase or decrease as they see fit. And based on the $30, and also based on our last discussion, that one will be gratis. So there'll be one, subsidized or free. Everybody that has over one dumpster will have to pay that fee. Recycling dumpsters will continue to be free. So if you have a recycling dumpster, there's no charge for that. So the spreadsheet, everybody should have the spreadsheet. If not, I can share my screen if you wish, if that's easier for everybody. So let me know what you prefer.
I think we left, this is Nick Zachary speaking. I think we left off after the last discussion. I think there was an agreement about the one free dumpster a month. And other than that, in general, the fees that were shown on that spreadsheet were acceptable. I think that was the general consensus. Am I correct?
That's correct. That's Rich Munson talking. You're right, Nick. That's what I heard too.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, this is Marcus. The only other thing we wanted to discuss is talking to Cindy and talk about us collecting the fee. If this is something we want to do, I think Cindy can speak for herself too. But we said we could do this on a quarterly basis. So somebody have to tell us when in the timeline they decide to add a dumpster or remove a dumpster, but it'll be paid on a quarterly basis in advance. So that way when I have to go after people, and I don't want to collect something that they haven't paid for.
Now, Marcus, Dwayne Jackson here. Looking at the list, Fat Sal's doesn't have a dumpster. Is that what I'm reading?
That's correct.
Well,
They just put out regular garbage pails?
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Stephanie worked very hard on the local law to avoid anybody from bypassing this law.
yeah.
If you produce more than 4 garbage cans of 30 gallons each, you will be charged a dumpster fee as well. So I don't want somebody to go around and says, okay, forget my dumpster, I'm going to put 20 garbage cans outside. So and then that'll create a whole bunch of litter and more. It'll be not pleasing to the eye to do that either. So the idea is 4 or more will be considered a dumpster, and the fee will have to be paid that way as well.
That means 2 per pickup, no more than 2 at each pickup.
No more than 4 in each pickup. Because right now you can put as many as you want, as many garbage cans as you wish right now.
But these are
Okay,
commercial. We're talking about commercial. We're not talking
Yeah,
about
but that's not what it says in this draft legislation. It says any person, household, or commercial establishment which has more than one, I'm sorry, not more than 4 32-gallon containers of garbage, trash, rubbish, and or refuse shall be collected in any 1 week, which means 2 per pickup.
Yeah.
Okay, did you want it to say one in any one pickup?
No, I
No,
mean,
good.
I think if you need 4 garbage pails twice a week, then you're going to have to pay for a dumpster.
Okay, good.
And that would have to be like a 6-family or something, because I have a 2-family and 1 pail every pickup is all I need. Now, we also have to realize we're not going to be enforcing this at Christmas time. You know, when people have gatherings, there's going to be that once or twice a year where there's going to, be 2 or 3 times the normal garbage. but so there might be one
Right.
week or 2 weeks where we have to overlook this. But I think that 2 garbage pails each pickup, and I don't think we should say 4 for the week, because then who's going to keep track? If the garbage company, the garbage guy's going to say, okay, they had 3 today, so I have to remember on Thursday they can only have 1.
Yep, you're right. You're right. Should be perfect.
Okay, I just want to know. I thought I'm confused now. I thought we were only talking about commercial people.
Well, only commercial people have garbage right now. But we're talking about if you have a multi-family house, 2 or 3 family home. Those are rent. You're actually collecting rent. So it's anything that you produce more than a certain number of garbage cans, you will have to pay that fee. And that wouldn't. I don't think that'll be a normal household.
So it's not limited to commercial.
That's correct.
Okay.
Like the Buchanan Avenue apartments,
Right.
Which is
I
however
just don't, with the residents, I don't want to limit it to 2. I don't for each pickup. I put out 2 now, but say for example somebody does some house cleaning or whatever, cleans out their closets, and now they have 4 garbage cans. You know what I mean? I don't want to, because they put it out maybe once a week, 4 garbage cans. I don't want to do that to the residents.
Rich again. I thought we're talking about commercial people, not because like what the mayor's saying there, I agree with it. At times, sometimes you put out 1, and then you have people come over or what have you, and you might produce a lot more, and maybe you have 3 or 4 now and again. So I would want to see it to commercial.
Well, then it may be commercial and multifamily, meaning more than meaning not private homes with accessory apartments.
Right.
Not 2 families. What multifamily means 3 or more, doesn't it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that would be good, Dick.
That's better.
Okay.
Stephanie, is that okay with the law? You have to change the law. What do you think?
Yeah. So in the very first paragraph, where it says any person, household, and commercial establishment, what do you want it to say?
Commercial or multifamily.
Any commercial or multifamily.
Just take out household.
So are we saying 2 families can have dumpsters if they so choose and not be charged? Well, I guess that would be the same thing because you get 1 free anyway.
No, because there's a couple hundred houses that are either 2 family or have an accessory apartment, and we don't want to start seeing dumpsters everywhere. But they're fine with garbage pails. It's only like the Buchanan Avenue apartments or the apartments by the hardware store, just south of the hardware store. There's like 5 or 6 apartments in that back where the mirror guy is, the glass guy is. There's about, how many places are there with? What about that? There's that apartment building that mystery apartment building on Tate Avenue and is it First Street? The one with 10 mailboxes?
Yeah, on the left-hand side, yeah.
So we never figured out.
Lewis or Travis Street. It's across from the Village Hall. I know which one.
Yeah. So there's like a handful that would fit this category.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I wanted to comment, this is Teresa, I wanted to comment to Dwayne. Dwayne, that house used to have a dumpster pickup because I used to watch the garbage truck back down their driveway, but I think that's why they switched over to garbage cans because...
No, this is Cindy. They do have a private company pick up their dumpster.
Okay, all right.
And so does the gas station.
Okay.
Well, we've got the Buchanan Avenue apartments here on the list already.
Sorry.
Yes.
I'm gonna... That's for me. Sorry. Sorry. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm back. Sorry.
Okay, any other questions on this, or,
I do. It's Stephanie. Are we clear, Marcus? You said that you and Cindy went through it and thought quarterly in advance of each quarter.
Yeah.
Good. Mm-hmm. Is that? And by the way, did we open a public hearing here? No, right?
Not yet.
Okay. So anyway, quarterly in advance of each quarter. That's what the board decided?
If that's okay with the board, we want to bill quarterly in advance. Of course, if somebody removes the dumpster within that quarter, we can refund the money for that month or two, whatever it is. But at least we know where the services are being provided and we're collecting the money, and not have to go after people.
And Marcus, do the dates work for you? December, due date is December 31st for January, February, March. Are those okay, or do you want to tweak them in some way?
Yeah, I got Cindy on the line. Cindy, what do you think?
I mean, I think that'll be fine.
Okay. I don't know what other bills go out. I don't want to swamp you with, in any one quarter or any one month.
No, I know, but we're not talking about that many bills, so it'll be fine.
Okay, just checking.
Thanks.
And I apologize, I didn't open up the public hearing, and we've kind of been in the public hearing here discussing this. So on a motion to open the public hearing regarding local law amendment chapter 163 of the Code of the Village of Buchanan.
So
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry, but we have been discussing it. But we can continue the discussion on that now.
Okay, so it's Stephanie again. Let me just make any corrections here. In the first paragraph, which is imposition of dumpster fees, it's going to read, any commercial establishment or multifamily home shall be entitled to have one dumpster picked up without charge.
Mm-hmm.
The way that reads to me, what if somebody else, a two-family, has a dumpster? Do they not get one for free? Like the way it read originally, the way I wanted it to read is anybody was entitled to one. So if you had a two-family, you're entitled to one. If you had a multifamily, you're entitled to one. If you're a commercial establishment, you're entitled to one. And you change that to read only commercial and multifamily. So if you have a two-family and you have a dumpster, you're paying a fee. You don't get one free. Because I think that's what we've just done.
Yeah. I don't think they should apply to two families or houses with accessory apartments. We'll have hundreds of dumpsters all over the village.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then that is what you wanted. Okay. And then we're going to do quarterly, and the month of billing as written is going to stay the way it is. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Good. So I'll make the changes.
Okay.
And should we clarify when it says you're entitled to one free dumpster, that it's for refuse? Because the dumpsters for recycling, you said there's no charge for those?
Yeah, that's correct.
So it needs to be specifically entitled to one dumpster for refuse and as needed for recycling.
Wait, so so recycling, how many dumpsters get filled for recycling? Do we know?
Yeah, recycling is free, but we're not charged for it. So it's I think the most that anybody has is 2 right now, and the recycling dumpsters there is no charge for recycling.
Okay, so one dumpster for refuse, picked up without charge. Okay.
Yeah, because it specifically says in here, this is Teresa, it specifically says in here, no construction, I'm looking for the line where it says no construction materials.
Right. Contractors have to take away their own.
Right.
Yep.
So you don't want to have a dumpster filled with construction material.
Absolutely not.
Okay,
it has to be
I know it was in here.
I like Nick's point. It should be refuse only.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm putting that in there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have, all right, so we have those 2 changes in the first paragraph, and quarterly in advance of each quarter in paragraph D, or subsection D.
Mm-hmm.
And everything else, I think, stayed the same. All righty. I'm good.
All right. That's where it says, the Village Highway Department shall not be required to remove construction debris, mechanically operated vehicles, or machinery, or any parts thereof, including tires. So I'm glad that was specific in there.
Okay.
Okay.
How about refrigerators?
Well, that's a whole other subject.
Yeah. Anyway, all right.
No refrigerators in dumpsters. No. But I am going to speak about refrigerators. Thank you for reminding me, Stephanie.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we had a little situation this week, but we're into this here. So any other questions from the board? Any
Just
other comments?
on that line where it says, this is Nick Zachary again, where it says Village Highway Department should not be required to remove and gives a list, just also add appliances.
You could, yeah.
Construction debris, mechanically operated vehicles, and appliances. Add appliances to that line.
Okie doke.
Appliances can be picked up on both pickup days, though.
Yes, that's right.
There you go. Okay.
Yep, that's good. I like that.
That's that. Yep.
Well,
Okay.
appliances are picked up with metal most times, so that's usually a Thursday pickup, and I believe that's twice
Right,
a
but they
month.
shouldn't go into dumpsters, is the point.
No, correct. They should not. We should not see a refrigerator in a dumpster. No.
And we might want to add no dead bodies.
Well, I would hope not. Okay. So, any other comments on this local law?
Yeah, looks good.
All right. On a motion to close.
Wait, hold on.
I'm sorry.
I'm
Before
sorry.
we do that, I have to ask if anybody else would like to comment other than the board. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yep.
Cindy, any calls, Cindy?
No calls, but if anybody wants to call in, it's 737-1034.
Okay.
You want to wait a second?
Sure. Yeah. We can.
Yeah.
So you know what? Let me talk for a minute about refrigerators. So before we close the public hearing. So we had a situation this week. There was a resident who had left a refrigerator out for pickup, and this was Saturday. And the door was still on the refrigerator. So I don't think people understand that you cannot, if you're throwing out a refrigerator, first of all, please do not put it out on Saturday. Like I said, we have pickup on, usually it's metal, usually is when they'll pick that up. It's, I think, twice a month. And if you have any questions, please call Village Hall and they'll tell you when you can put that out. But the key part here is never, never, never put a freezer out, never, never, never put a refrigerator out for trash without the door off. It is illegal to have a door attached to a refrigerator out for pickup. It's there's been instances where children have gotten into the refrigerator playing around, and then I think what happens, the refrigerator seals and they can't get out of it.
That's correct.
So that's why there's a law about that. I had our attorney look that up. So if you ever see something like that, please either call the police department, our code enforcement officer, or one of us. And I just, you know what, I don't think it was done intentionally. I just don't think people understand that you shouldn't do that.
Yeah. May I add one thing, Nick Zachary? I would say 9 out of 10 times when people put out a refrigerator, it's because they got a new one. So when you go to an appliance store and get your new refrigerator delivered, let them take the old one back.
Mm-hmm.
What is there a fee for that sometimes? Maybe that's why people do it. Yeah. But if it's possible, let the appliance company that delivers take the old one back. They will do that. I've had that done.
Nick, that's $20 to take away an old appliance. They usually charge.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. So that's why people, okay.
Yeah, that's probably why people will just leave it out. I mean, that's usually what I've heard.
Right. Okay. Well, if you don't mind paying the $20, let the company take it back.
Right.
Okay, no calls.
Okay, so on a motion to close the public hearing regarding local law, amending Chapter 163.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and we also have to vote on approving. So, let's see, I'm just going to do the local law, the imposition of dumpster fees. Stephanie, you're going to correct that wording to include certain other things. A pickup fee shall be established by the Village Board of Trustees and set forth in the master fee schedule maintained in the Village Clerk office. We discussed no more than 4 32-gallon containers of garbage, trash, rubbish. Well, refuse can be collected in any 1 week. We had that whole discussion about multifamily, So we went over that. Billings and payments for use of dumpsters shall be made quarterly. In order. Oh, and we're still going to have the owner will be required to sign a collection agreement approved by the Village Board of Trustees, one time only, and pay the user fees as set forth in the master fee schedule. The Village of Buchanan shall promptly discontinue service to any person, residence, business, store, factory, restaurant, or other commercial establishment for which the user fees required by this section are not timely paid. The Village Highway Department, we talked a bit about this, shall not be required to remove construction debris, mechanically operated vehicles or machinery or any parts thereof, including tires. We talked about the payment due date. And we talked about...
sorry to interrupt this, Stephanie. Did you talk about what the fee is? Has that been put out there per dumpster?
Yes, Marcus had mentioned that from the beginning.
Yeah, it's $30 per dumpster, per pickup.
I took the schedule we had. I thought it said 240.
No, it's $30. It's $30 per pickup. That's the 240.
So 240 is monthly.
Yes.
Okay.
30 per pickup for each dumpster. So we pick up twice a week. Yeah, the dumpsters are picked up on Tuesdays and Fridays.
Correct.
Right. So that's why it's eight a month or 240 a month.
Yep.
Well, on a 31-day month, it could wind up being 270 if you're charging 30 per pickup.
Per pickup. Yep, that's right.
It's not always 240 on a short month or a long month.
That's correct.
And penalties, we talk about penalties, shall accrue against dumpster collection fees, and then it discusses also unpaid dumpster fees.
Okay.
Oh, anyone else have any other comments on a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are going to consider a motion to appoint Robert Phillips and Giuseppe Panosa as seasonal highway help from May 15th to August 31st, 2020. So we do this every year. We hire seasonal help. And I am looking for, oh Lord, I do not have it in front of me, everyone. But anyhow, we...
No, I don't have it either. Okay. I just have the letters for the...
Okay. So we're considering that motion. It runs from, well, May 15th. We passed that. So I guess it's going to be June 1st to August 31st at a rate of $13 per hour. And Zachary Gervalo as seasonal highway help from June 1st to August 31st at a rate of $13 per hour. Is that correct, Marcus?
Yeah, on the first gentleman, it actually is May 15th. There was an email we passed around to allow us to hire him a little earlier if he was available, so that is retroactive to May 15th. Okay,
all right. So Robert Phillips and Giuseppe Panosa was as of May 15th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. At a rate, all of them are at a rate of $13 per hour. On a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're going to have a motion to appoint Sharon Murphy as our deputy clerk effective June 1st, 2020 at a total annual salary of $3,000. So everyone knows in the office we have Cindy Kempter, who is our village clerk, working very hard and doing a great job. But also with Cindy is Sharon Murphy. And I will tell you, the both of them have done just, you know, with this COVID, and they've really worked together to keep the office going, to keep the village going. They work very well together. Sharon has done, she's been working hard, really hard, and she's been working mostly out of her house. And we just felt it was appropriate to appoint her as deputy clerk. And that's what we're going to do this evening. if anyone would like to say anything before I make a motion.
If I may, Ms. Marcus, I've been working with Cindy and Sharon for some time, and I cannot tell you how great they are working together. They back each other out. Sharon is always asking, what else can I do? As she actually comes by and says, I'm done, what else can I do? It's very refreshing to have somebody trying to stay busy. She lives in the village. She cares a lot about the village. And I think this $3,000 stipend for the additional duties that she's going to be doing is more than well deserved. It's been a great working with her and Cindy. And I know Cindy might want to say a couple of words as well. But I really appreciate the board considering this. It's well deserved, and I think she's watching tonight. And if she is, I want to say I really appreciate everything she's been doing.
Okay, this is Cindy. Yes, I have to agree with what Marcus said. Sharon and I have known each other for quite a few years, and we do work well together. And what I like to do, she doesn't, and vice versa. So it's a perfect team.
A good team. That's it. And you know, and really, Sharon and you are so good with the residents. I mean, you are just so good with the customer service. You go out of your way. Sharon, you're just, you know, very nice to the residents, and Cindy is, and helpful, and so that means so much. You know, it's all about customer service. It's all about helping the residents here, and that's what makes it such a great community. So, congratulations. So, anyone else would like to say anything?
You know, all those nice things that we're hearing about Sharon, which is like totally true. I say we give her more of a raise right now. Well deserved, Sharon. It's great. Congratulations.
Okay. On a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so moving right along to Resolution E, restricting parking and authorizing installation of no parking signs. We have been discussing this for quite a while now. To restrict parking from Blakely Avenue on Route 9A up to State Avenue. As you can see, the highway, the DOT, New York State DOT, has been doing a lot of work on 9A. There's still going to be paving, but there was a lot of prep work. We did have a sidewalk installed from Blakely Avenue to one of the businesses, so it connects to a sidewalk. We do have an application in, and we have been approved for to extend that sidewalk from, there's a two-family house, to extend that to the gas station by Tate Avenue. Unfortunately, it's not going to coincide with the road work, but we really feel it's a safety issue to put that sidewalk in there. So we're restricting no parking on that side of the road because shortly there's going to be a sidewalk going in there. So, and that's what we've been working on for quite a while, but it's been tough with the state being closed down to get that application finalized. You know, just as we were on a limited staff up in Albany, they were on a very limited staff also. Marcus, would you like to comment any more, because I know you've been dealing with the DOT directly?
Yeah, no problem. The DOT, after looking at the conditions on the Route 9A, agreed that it's a safety concern to have the no parking sign on that side of the street. They're going to go put up the signs. They were going to be bagged until this resolution is passed. In fact, I had Anthony review some of the records, and this goes back many years. About putting no parking signs up. So it's like the mayor said, this has been going up for many years. The nice thing about it is the DOT is putting those signs in a no charge to the village, and then the police will start enforcing those and that regulation as soon as the board approves these regulations.
Can I ask a question? This is Stephanie. Hey, Nick, are you also thinking of no parking on the other side of the street, and don't don't ask me the discussion, no parking of commercial vehicles on the other side of the street, or is that being held for some other time?
So let me, this is Nick Zachary, let me answer that and also add one or two things. So definitely, I think we're looking for no parking from Blakely to Tate on the west side, which is the Lindo side of the street. And I do have one possible exception to that I'll go back to in a second. On the east side of Tate, which is across the street from Lindo, there are about 5 private homes, most of whom have off-street parking. We are allowing them to park, of course. But we also want to put no parking on that side. But we were going to have a drop-off area, but apparently this daycare center is closed. Mm-hmm. So I do believe we should have no. There's that area with trees just north of the daycare center is a little flagged piece of the Wick property. That's part of Wick. If you look at the property lines, and there's some stones there. Right now, Lindo has been parking a flatbed there. There was a Mercedes wagon in the same spot for about 2 months or a month and a half. I don't know if it was waiting for repairs or was just sitting there, but I think it's sort of a quote-unquote dumping ground for vehicles that he's not working on or something. I don't think that we should have commercial parking overnight there in that area, just as we don't have commercial street parking anywhere else in the village. Even when we have overnight parking between April and the end of November, yes, that's the spot. And there's that wagon that was sitting there forever. Is that the Mercedes?
Yeah,
yes.
Mercedes.
Yep. I think that car's, I don't know, seems like it's always in that spot. But anyway, technically, if it has a license plate on it, it could sit there. But I don't think you can sit a car in one spot for a month anywhere in the village. I don't think that's what's intended. So I don't think there should be any overnight commercial parking from Blakely to Tate on either side, period, because that's our regulation throughout the village. No commercial parking on the street overnight. I do have a couple of things. In front of Lindo, where there's already a sidewalk, is that where you're zooming into now? Now, the stone wall there is part of his house. That's not what I'm referring to, but just a little further up there on the left. Okay, now turn to the left. Okay, yeah, you passed it. But there's the tan building there. That's his shop. And okay, where you're going back and forth. You need to land in the middle somewhere. Mm-hmm. All right, Marcus, that's fine there. You see where his junkyard is? It was supposed to be an auto body shop. Somehow it's become a junkyard. So, that building, there's a sidewalk there already. You see that sidewalk? And I mean, to be fair, he's got to pull vehicles in and out. And I'm thinking if there's enough room to pull over where that sidewalk is already, we should allow him those 2 spots during the day when he has to juggle vehicles. But there should not be overnight commercial parking there.
So you're saying in front of the business, like where those cars are there?
Yes, right there. To me, there's two spots there. And my feeling is, I mean, in fairness, he's got to pull cars in, pull cars out. He should be allowed those spots during the day for juggling of cars and positioning things, getting things out, and, you know. So, but overnight there should not be commercial parking. What does the board think of that?
It's Stephanie, and I'm not the board, but I'm completely confused. So you're going to have to start again for me on this one. I thought what we were doing is no parking at all on the side of the street that you're talking about, Lindo, overnight or otherwise, cars or commercial. That's what I thought you had originally said.
I thought that also.
So did I.
And then, on the other side of the street, you were going to say no commercial, and that was to give deference to the homeowners who obviously need to keep their cars there at times or have a guest or whatever. So on Rolindo's side, it was no parking at all from Blakely to Tate, and on the other side, Wick side, it was no commercial parking. So now you're talking about only no parking overnight, and except for two spots? Because I got to rework this then and figure it out.
Okay, well, let me ask in terms of interpretation. In the village, in the winter, there's no parking overnight. But if somebody, if a lawn contractor comes, or people can to what extent can people pull over in a no parking zone and not be in violation?
Right. I mean, you would call it standing, no parking. All right, I'm standing. Do you have to have the car running?
He's got,
I don't know. You could put 10-minute parking only. I don't know.
Okay, so let me ask you, what does he do if he's got to pull out two vehicles to get another vehicle out or to get another vehicle in? What does he do? If we got to be, we want to clean this up.
I get it. We just have to change it from what we have and what I thought it was to whatever you're saying it is now.
I disagree. I mean, everybody has driveways in the village, and some people have families have more cars than others, and they have to jockey every day. There's no reason why he can't jockey things. Nobody's going to give. I can't see somebody giving a ticket. They're not going to be waiting outside, and he gets out of one vehicle and leaves it there for a second to go pull another one out. I mean,
okay. So you think just leave it?
Yeah, I think because what you're suggesting, I know where you're coming from, what you're saying, Nick, but it'll only lead to confusion. And if you open the door to any of these things, it makes more confusion, and people will say, "Well, I was just doing this and that." So I think it's the whole thing.
So what we would do is just leave it as no parking, but obviously. He's going to be allowed to just juggle and pull something out there briefly or whatever. Is that what everyone thinks is better? Just leave it at that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And is that the west side of the street?
That is.
West side, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's going to be no parking signs installed on the west side of Albany Post Road from Bleakley to Tate. Mm-hmm. And then what are you doing on the east side? Are you saying no commercial vehicle parking on the east side of the street from Bleakley to Tate? And you were going to allow, non-commercial vehicles to park there, or what were you doing?
I'm just, I think commercial parking.
I think, Nick.
I think we need to allow the residential parking because there's 6 houses there.
Yeah.
Right, and the way it'll read is no commercial parking. No parking of commercial vehicles on the east side from Blakely to Tate. Is that what you wanted?
Yep.
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
Okay. And as to the discussion of the Wick property, you think maybe there's some Rolindo parking on the Wick property? Is that what you were saying?
Well, that is the picture that the picture that when Marcus was down on Street View.
Yep.
And he showed that flatbed and that Mercedes wagon.
Yep.
That is a little flag piece of the Wick property, which is, Marcus, can you point your arrow down to where that is?
Yep. He's gone.
No, but I understand that it's on the Wick property. What my question is, my comment is.
Pull up past that house. Okay. All right. So right there, where you see the flat, do you see the screen, Stephanie?
No, but I don't need to. I know what you're saying. I was wondering, are you suggesting that we can restrict that parking on Wick property? Is that what you're saying? Because I think that would be a site plan issue.
Doesn't matter what the property is. We control the parking on the street. If they're not getting off the right of way.
Okay.
Marcus, where that flatbed and that wagon is right now, it doesn't matter who owns the property if we have a no parking regulation. We would have to check it. This came up last time too.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, I know on Tate Avenue, the village right-of-way is 25 feet from the center line. That being the case, it includes the whole road plus about another 10, 12 feet. So those cars right now are parked on the village on on the right
State right of way.
Yeah, state right
Okay.
State right of
All
way.
right. Just wanted to understand what you were trying to accomplish.
And this is Marcus. I agree with Nick. What's going to happen is all the cars that Rolando is parking on his side of the street, he would just move it to the other side unless you restrict the commercial parking.
Right.
Oh yeah, right. No, they're restricting the commercial parking. That's what I have. Okay. I'm clear.
Now, my last question. Initially, when this whole process started, for us to take over the parking enforcement on 9A, we needed to get approval from the DOT. Are we getting that in conjunction with this work being done, or do we have to, in some other way, formally apply for that? They have to approve our plan, and then we can do the enforcing. Otherwise,
just to answer your question, I talked to the DOT. They said no problem. That's why they put the signs up. Whatever parking enforcement the village wants to do on both sides of the street, they're okay with. So I can ask them to give something to us in writing, but they say not a problem.
Do we need an official? Do we need some kind of we hereby officially see the parking?
Yeah, I think that we can give. We did this back in 2008, actually, this exact resolution. And as I researched it to wonder why it was never, done, well, there's several reasons. But one of them was, the state said, well, we need an ordinance. And somebody got confused and didn't provide it, whatever the reason. And Marcus, this is directed at you because I saw some communication, I think, saying, you guys need an ordinance. So this resolution is all we need by our code. So
That's
if you
correct.
give them this resolution, I mean, if they want to dig into our code or they want to call me, that's fine. But our code was smart in this respect, because they didn't want an ordinance every time the village wanted to put a parking sign up, right? So it says anything you do by resolution is incorporated by reference into our code and permitted without an ordinance or a local law or amending a local law. So this is all you need. So this is what you would give them, I think. And they should accept it.
That's absolutely correct.
Okay, good. So we're on the same page, because I was looking through some past correspondence in '08, and they were really pretty insistent on we need an ordinance, and I'm not sure what the mix-up was. So anyway, you could tell them to call me if that was an issue. That's all.
Yeah, my discussion with the state, they have no issue. They just want a copy of the law after it's adopted by the village board.
Okay, good. So good. That works.
This is Teresa. Marcus, can you show us on the screen? We're talking about the west side. So can you show the board that the west side what's not going to be allowed to be parked? Because also remember where that gray on the left there, that silver truck is. There's going to be sidewalks there eventually. But if you can bring that down to the avenue to show.
So here's Blakely Avenue. Right now, there's a new sidewalk here where this white car is. So there'll be no parking from Blakely on this whole side of the street, all the way to here.
Okay. But could you show the cars on that side that are parked there now?
Oh, sure.
If you could come down a little further.
So here.
Okay, there's that truck that's always there.
Yep. So let me zoom back around. So I don't know where this truck is coming from, but it's always there. You're absolutely correct. So there'll be no parking from the guardrail. You got that truck there. You got this maroon car.
That's the white truck. That's what you're talking about, Teresa, I think, right?
Yeah.
They always parks by the near the driveway up to the power line path there.
Yep, that white truck right there.
There's a sidewalk going in that area, probably where that guardrail might have to come out. I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm not sure how close they'll come to the road, but there's going to be no way for those vehicles to go over the curb because it's going to be a regular sidewalk for safety. No curb cut.
Just before that, there are rock outcroppings, so the sidewalk will definitely be closer to the road than. It might be a little in further as we get closer to Tate, but in some of these areas, behind that growth, there's rock outcroppings, so the sidewalk is, there's definitely no room for cars.
That's correct. That's why the idea of no parking on that side of the street makes sense. Well, there'll be a brand new sidewalk the whole length of this road.
Mm-hmm.
So here's all these cars parked here. Here's the rock you're talking about, Nick?
You're right, Nick. It's
Yeah, all there, yeah, all that stuff there, yep.
That's all the rock. So
we're not blasting out rock to put in the sidewalk.
So the sidewalk will be exactly where these cars are parked right now.
Okay.
Yeah, yep.
So that's a big reason too why we're doing this, because there's a sidewalk for safety reasons that's going in there. So, they're not going to be able to park there anyhow once the sidewalk goes in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, may I, this is Nick Zachary. The related thing here, which we don't have to get into right now, but we were going to look at the site plan approval for Raulindo, because it seems to me, whatever the hell, he was starting out with a nice, neat, state-of-the-art spray shop to do auto body work, and it seems to me that he's doing just about anything but auto body work. We know that he's coming in the middle of the night with wrecked vehicles, so I don't know if he's doing a salvage business, or if that's part of it is auto body work. But you see that building in the back that looks like it's got shit dumped all over it? That was his state-of-the-art spray room, and it looks like he's doing anything but auto body work.
Marcus, could you focus in on that building, right, the flat roof right behind it? Like, is there cars on top of that? Like, I don't,
Yes.
Like, yeah, focus in on that. That's, and then, this might be a workshop discussion, because, we're talking about the parking right now, but while Marcus has this up.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I can't tell what that is. It looks like...
building? No, okay. No, you got to go behind.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can
While you have it up, this way,
Yeah, you need the aerial view, because the street's not going to take you up his driveway.
Okay.
Google Maps didn't go behind.
Just to, up, above.
Okay.
Above.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hold on.
Now look, the garage door is open. Zoom back out a touch. The garage door is open. This was when we gave him, when I was on the zoning board, and he got his variances and then his site plan approval from the planning board. This was a state-of-the-art filtered spray booth, everything. Now, that door looks like it's not even kept closed. He's got shit on top. So he's not, I don't even think he's doing auto body work. What the fuck is he doing? Oops,
you're on Zoom.
Yep,
look at that. I'm sitting here in my house. I forgot I'm on a public meeting.
Yeah,
my
you
apologies. So anyway,
no good.
What the bleep is he doing?
Marcus, can you focus in more on that? On top of that little flat garage there?
I'm trying to. I think
I have to get better resolution.
Looks like auto parts.
Yeah, I think what he's doing, what he did once was, you see there's a Jersey barrier over here, everybody?
Uh-huh.
He took the Jersey barrier off, and this is Con Edison property. He was parking cars all around here, and they were looping around to the back of his property. So Con Edison, I told him to move, and they put the Jersey barrier back up. So he was parking cars back here before too.
Yeah. And that the building there, I guess everybody knows, is his residence.
Next door, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, at least he owns the building. I don't know if he still lives there.
Yeah. Okay, so that's something for our building inspector to look at. That
right. We don't know what he's doing, but we need to check what his approval was for and what he's currently doing. I don't think he got approval to be a salvage business.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so we're just, we're going to take care of the parking on that side for the sidewalk for safety reasons, and it has gotten to be a little bit of a bottleneck there with the parking all over the place. So, once again, it's a safety issue. We want to make sure that people can walk safely. We're seeing more and more people walk, so we want to make sure they'll be able to walk safely and come into the village circle.
Well, the whole thing, this is Dwayne, with the sidewalk going in there, it changes the topography of everything, and it's certainly incumbent upon us to make sure that the pedestrians walking there aren't walking around cars. So it's yeah,
which they are now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Any other?
I get one question, Nick, on the nursery school there. You saying they're not operating now? Does that mean they're defunct, or it's going to go back to a private residency, or what?
Yeah, private residence. Yes, I think that Teresa, you told me they found another location for the school or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. Well, it was, the state approved that. We had no say in that, and the state approved it. And then looking back at that, that's a dangerous, busy road. And you have these parents pulling up in front of the house or pulling in that area, opening the car door, putting their kids in the car into the car seats, and it's like, oh my God! Every time I drove by, it was like, oh my God, somebody's going to get killed here. So it was just so they have found another place. They will not be having their nursery school there. It was just a dangerous situation. But once again, that's the state doing their thing and not coming to the local municipality and asking them what their thoughts were. We have another nursing home that just got slammed into the village on a very small, narrow street. So, you know what, it's like, that's fine, but you need to come to the municipality and ask what might the issues be. And that one definitely would have been, there's no off-street parking. That's extremely dangerous on a main road. But they found out, they found out themselves. Okay, so any other comments on the resolution for the restricting the parking and authorizing installation of no parking signs? Okay, I'm gonna read the resolution.
Yeah, you're gonna have to read it with the changes. Sorry,
okay. Stephanie, do you have the? I only have the changes with the putting down the west side of Albany Post Road.
Yeah, the way I have it now is the first whereas. It's the village board has determined that the public safety requires that no parking signs be installed on the west side of Albany Post Road from Bleakley Avenue to Tate Avenue, and no parking of commercial vehicles on the east side of the street from Bleakley to Tate Avenue in the village of Buchanan. Is that correct? Does everybody have that? Do I have that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then the rest is now, be it therefore resolved that, pursuant to 189-15 of the Village Code, the board hereby authorizes the installation of no parking signs at the aforesaid location, and that the village clerk is authorized to order such signs and pay the cost of same, and be it further resolved that the village highway department is authorized to install such signs at the above noted locations.
Very good, Stephanie. Thank you for reading that. You've done good.
You're welcome.
And so will we be buying and installing the signs that say no commercial parking on the east side, or are they doing that?
No, that'll be our responsibility.
That'll be us, okay.
All right.
So you just have to do a roll call vote, right?
Yes. On a motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we need to specifically say our name and I on these kind of meetings?
Was that a unanimous vote?
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Everyone was
No
in
opposed.
agreement? Unanimous vote?
Yes, okay.
Okay, so information from officers.
Sorry, I have to interrupt. It's Stephanie again.
Okay,
in thinking about what we did with the dumpster fees, I think maybe you might want to entertain a motion to amend the master fee schedule to include these fees.
Yes, I
so
think
that it can take effect. So that it could take effect immediately. So if you amend it, which you can do by resolution or by motion, then it becomes part of that immediately.
You know, Stephanie, I think that was said into that resolution. I'm almost positive that it would go into the master fee schedule. I am sorry, I'm looking for it right now, and I will find it and I will tell you. Sorry. You know, I
don't think I put it in there. I think that I probably should have amended the master fee schedule.
No,
I'm not sure if I did.
It's in Part B.
It's in Part B, like Nick said. It says, dumpster shall pay a pickup fee as established by the Village Board of Trustees and set forth in the master fee schedule maintained in the office of the village clerk.
So we have to edit.
You've done good. You've done good again. Okay. So, thank you, Steph. Information from officers and departments, police reports for March 2020 and April 2020 received and filed. Highway Department report for April 2020 MS4 annual report, period ending March 9th, 2020. And thank you, Marcus, for asking for these different reports so the board can get a closer and better understanding of what's going on in the village. Attorney's report. Stephanie Porteous, are you?
I'm sorry. Before we go to Stephanie, also I emailed everybody the wastewater report. Emailed that to you guys. You got the highway and building department report. So all the departments provided a report. So I just want to make sure we put that on the record.
Yes, thank you.
Mark, just a quick question. Dwayne Jackson here. How many meters are left to be done? Do we have any idea on the water meters?
It was a handful. I can get you an exact number. I know we had a couple of them set up to actually be installed, but then we got hit with the coronavirus, and some residents didn't want somebody to walk into the houses during this time. So we actually were going to try to finish that up, and then we got hit with the coronavirus. But I give you an update of what's outstanding and how many people actually told us they wanted us to get into the house. And Cindy's on the line too. Cindy might be able to answer that. Cindy?
Yeah, I think probably about 20 more meters to be done. I think that's it.
Okay. Good. Thank you. Just wanted an update.
Yep.
Oh, good question. Okay.
Yeah, it's Stephanie. Sorry, Stephanie.
Oh, that's perfectly okay. So I just wanted to give you an update on the two bills that we're trying to push through Albany. I checked right before the meeting. They are only in committee still. They're not even on the floor calendar. Not sure what that says about our petition or our attempts, but I think we should just keep plugging away. But there doesn't appear to be any movement.
Stephanie, this is Teresa. I spoke to Sandy Galeff's Andrew today, and I asked him the same question. Where are we with this? They're currently working on things that are COVID-related, and now with the whole other situation with the rioting and things like that. So they're working on, like, the immediate things, and next week, my understanding is that's when that will move forward or go somewhere. We were fortunate, and we're still getting more, but we ended up getting 2,800 signatures, and Marcus, thank you for forwarding that to Albany and to Sandy Galeff and Peter Harcum. You know, and this, what the basis of this is, and I don't know if everybody understands, so I'm gonna, if somebody's listening out in TV land, it's what we're asking for is to be able to tax the spent fuel casks that we've, you know, that aren't taxed now, and it's looking like it's going to be more and more a permanent structure on that property, so we've become a de facto storage facility. So I know we've talked about this before, but just as a reminder, we're asking the state to allow us to be able to tax over 125 spent fuel casks that will be there for an indefinite amount of time. So the legislature will end sometime in June. They've extended past, usually they're done June 1st, but it's extended. So we're still working on that. So thank you, Stephanie and Marcus, for continuing to stay on top of that too.
Sure. I don't know what you want to do about the Buchanan Engine Company. Do you want to discuss that in executive session or open session? That's your pleasure.
You know what? It's really, you know, we're discussing. I don't know. My thoughts are we're discussing taxpayer dollars, and but you know, what's the board's position? Do they want to go into exec discussion since it's a contractual issue, or would they like to discuss it now?
What would be the grounds for going into executive session?
Yeah.
Because it's
it is partially a contract negotiation. We're out of contract with them. I mean, they continue on because it isn't signed. We haven't had a contract in several years.
What is your recommendation, Stephanie?
Maybe I'll update you all.
Almighty legal expert.
Yeah. You know, personally, I'd like to put it out there, but maybe we'll go into executive session this time, and I'll give you some heads up about what might be coming. So that's fine. What else do I have for you? The infrastructure. We have the pilot. I have a new draft pilot. We're having a discussion. Thursday in advance of a discussion with the town and the school district regarding the pilot. We can talk about that more in executive session if you want. And I think that's all I have for you. Actually, an open session.
Okay. All right.
Oh, wait, one more thing. Did you want to talk about the camp issue, or are we doing that in executive session?
We can do that in open
Yes.
session.
Definitely open.
That's nothing control or employee related, so we can discuss it. And I know today that the governor said that pools and not pools, camps could be opened up. He's basically sending it back to the local communities to deal with. So, we have already said that we're closing our camp and our pool because of concerns with the COVID. There's constant, the CDC, their guidelines are just, they're constantly changing. And I would love to have the kids go to camp. I would love to have the kids use the pool. But you know what? We still have a situation where the virus is not done yet. We have a situation after all this rioting and things going on. I don't know. I don't know what that's going to be like in 2 weeks. We have been very blessed in the village of Buchanan to have a very, very low count of virus here. And I will tell you the good news, we've had a week of no new virus contagion, anyone getting it. Unfortunately, we've had a few deaths, but right now we seem to be in a good place where this virus has kind of subsided here. And going back to this, it's always about the safety and the health of the residents. And I'm just a little concerned. The governor did come out with that statement, but he has not given any guidelines. My understanding, some of the guidelines might be, for example, a small group of 10, you have to wear a mask. The child would have to wear a mask. There'll be constant protocol on cleaning and disinfecting. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure, because you've seen other communities close down their camps, and the city of Peekskill just announced today. I don't know about meeting all the requirements, and I'm just, I just don't want to see, especially the children. I don't want to see anyone get sick. That there was an uptick with the children with this virus. Well, not the exact virus, but they were getting something similar to the Kawasaki disease. So I don't know. On a safety issue, on a liability issue for the village, I mean, Stephanie, you can speak to the liability. You're our attorney. I'm just concerned. I don't know. It's a tough decision, but I don't know. But, for him to say that today and then not come out with the guidelines, and we're into June already, and the camps would be opening the end of June, I don't know. I don't know. And then, let's be honest here. We have children, the camp counselors, watching other children. I don't want to sound like a meanie or a fuddy-dud or anything like that. It's just out of the utmost concern for the health of everybody involved here. That's my thoughts. That was Teresa. Sorry.
May I?
Sure, absolutely.
Nick Zachary. I'm also not sure, but I'd like to hear a little more. I suspect that half of the people that initially applied will pull their kids out and not want to do it. I think a lot of people are, even if we open, a lot of people are not going to want to do it. Parents and how they treat these things with their kids, that is going to be very different from family to family. I think on the positive side, it should be, we should limit all activities to outdoors in bad weather under the pavilion, and not go into confined spaces like that little the project room in the village hall, in the highway building. So one thing would be everything would have to be outdoors, and that helps a lot. I think that the open space and air dispersal and ultraviolet light and all that is positive. I don't know exactly how it should be done and how well things can be cleaned and how consistently you can make sure that kids wear their masks. Let's face it, there's going to be some families that are going to be very on top of that and push their kids. And then there's going to be other people, if you've been to the stores lately, generally people are pretty good, but then you get somebody who comes, I went to get a pizza and two people came into the store I don't get a mask, So if there's parents like that, how are those kids, you've got to make sure that that's not translated to their kids. There's a lot involved, and you mentioned liability. That's also important. So I don't really know if it's feasible. I mean, I would love to do it if it was feasible, but we have to look at the safety and the liability, and I'm not sure. Not sure if it would work. But I mean, I'd like to see it happen, but I'm not going to blindly dive into a committal of that. I want to hear more.
Nick, this is Teresa. I know we had talked this week a little bit about possible, if things really calm down, possible having some village-wide events, maybe July, maybe August, like a movie night, but make sure it's outside, it's 6-foot distancing. We were kind of bouncing that around.
Right.
We do something like that.
Right.
Could we do something to be distanced from everyone, and I don't know, like an ice cream night, I don't know, where people just come and pick up something, and I don't know, we were kind of tossing some things around, so I don't know, it's kind of hard to make a decision right now.
I've been talking to Nancy and to Bob about possibility of doing a drive-in movie at Lents Cove. The biggest issue, because you can mark out spots and tell people they have to wear masks, and people have their cars, they have to stay in their car or in a lawn chair in front of their car. You can enforce distancing, but the biggest issue, which we don't have an answer for yet, is the screen. A big outdoor screen could be very expensive. Companies that rent them, it costs a lot. I'm still looking at that part of it. We're going to test the equipment we have to make sure it will fill that space. So just in general, wouldn't be bad to look at alternative ideas that would, where we could socially distance and still have some kind of event. But that's an open question also. We have to, the camp question is a separate question. That not sure how it would work. If there was a way, great. But definitely we have to be prudent.
Yeah, this Cheech, by the way. Right now there's just I just think just too many unknowns, and the liability also. I was just reading where they're I think Disney's planning to open their theme parks in mid-July, and they're going to have signs all over the place about the liability and how Disney's not going to be liable for that. And that's not my only concern, but we're dealing with kids here, and that's the scary part, because if one of these children do get sick, that's not okay with me. And like I said, there's just too many unknowns right now. If we would have been told this maybe 2 months ago and things were heading in the right direction, the governor just says something this morning and he's like, all right, you guys can handle it with really nothing in place. I don't, again, everybody's, I don't know. And that's where I'm at. I don't know. If there's something that can be worked out, I'd be willing to listen. But right now, there's just too many unknowns. I wish I could, say something better about it. But I'm just, right now, I don't think it's a good idea right now.
Well, to be fair, in support of what Cheech just said, it's a percentage game. And there's no 100%. you could sterilize everything and wear masks and socially distance, and you go from likely to a few percent chance. There's no 100% guarantee. Nobody can give a 100% guarantee. You know what an N95 mask is? It's a mask that filters 95% of a certain size microscopic particles, which means it's not filtering 5%. So you go from your chances of contracting something if you're wearing an N95 mask are greatly reduced, but there's no 100%. So I kind of understand where Chief is coming from.
It's Dwayne. Let me just make a roundabout comment in that, is it possible, Madam Mayor, that we reconvene on Monday in a Zoom call at an official meeting, which would give us 4 or 5 days to kind of look at what the other alternatives might be to open up the camp? I don't know if we're going to get any more guidance from the state, but I'm thinking that might be a possibility. This is Tuesday night. We reconvene on Monday after everyone has kind of done some more research or reached out to some other entity to find out exactly what might be a measure to work to try and have some sort of semblance of a camp. Just a suggestion, and I'll wait for comments on it.
What would the board like to do with that?
This is Rich Fudson talking. I guess the risk is too high. I mean, I understand that what everybody's saying, the kids and the camp counselors and people who will be working there. It's not great. It's terrible. I mean, for them. But I don't know if you see some of these what this virus can do. I wouldn't want to be one to have this thing and then have somebody die. I guess I respectfully probably be against opening up a camp. Especially, and my other concern is, since so many other places haven't are not going to open a camp, will then people from other areas come into our camp and even enlarge it? And the more people you have, the better the chance of getting the virus.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So I would be against it.
Okay.
But as the other said, if there was information came out that about that, whatever, with this virus, we don't know. From day to day, things can change. But as of now, I don't think it would be prudent.
All right. We do have a workshop this month. I mean, we can, discuss it further at the workshop. Maybe we'll have some more clear-cut direction. I don't think so from the state, but maybe there'll be better direction. But I know one of the things was, which didn't make any sense to me, it was small groups of 10, like the campers could be in small groups of 10. Okay, so what does that mean? So what do you have? 10 small groups of 10? I mean, you're still. Yep. I don't know. I just think it's difficult. I remember when I was a kid, had a lot of energy. To do the social distancing with the kids. I don't know. So if we don't want to meet next Monday, we could always discuss it at the next workshop to see if anything is looking any better or anything like that. But, Rich is right. We would probably get a lot of people from other communities coming in, and that's not a bad thing. But under the circumstances, once again, just remember we've been really blessed to have such a low virus count here, whereas our neighbors it's been quite a bit higher. So not saying that all kids have the virus. I'm not saying that, but sometimes you just need one person, and then you could have a problem.
This is Marcus. I want to make one point. Whatever the board wants to decide is fine with us, and Cindy's on the line too. We started processing refund checks to the people who did pay. So it would help us to make a decision. Well, I don't want to do refunds, and then we do open the plant, and then we got the camp, and then we got to get payments back again. So whatever the board wants to decide is fine. It's going to aggravate some of the residents not knowing yes or no what we're going to do.
I know. So. I'm leaning right now towards not doing it. I like Cheech had said too, there's so many unknowns at this point. And it's kind of hard to gear everything up within a couple of weeks too, because usually this is a long process. The camp process starts before the hiring of people, but everything. It's kind of hard to suddenly move forward again quickly and have it done by the end of the month. And, there's a lot of unknowns. I don't know what the end of the month is going to look like either.
Yeah. Well, one of the reasons that the governor gave for saying that people can do that is because of the sharp decline in cases. While I think opening this in a way that everyone's comfortable is unlikely, we definitely cannot wait till the next workshop to discuss this further. We either have to poll the board and decide tonight, or agree to allow for some information gathering and maybe Marcus can meet with Nancy and outline how this would work. Maybe there'd be some other guidance from the state, and then go with what Dwayne said. Let's have a special workshop next Monday, and then either just close, either nail the coffin shut on this. That's probably a bad metaphor, but either shut the door on this, or if there's actually any kind of new information that changes anybody's mind, we could move in another direction. Seems like this is unlikely, but we could give it a few days just to get the information that to make a final decision.
Yeah, just Rich Fancher now. I think one of the biggest things in the camp was the pool. And the question about opening a pool, as Bob said when we discussed this last, he said, by having the summer off, would give them the chance to really repair everything in the pool.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that the pool is the attraction that I heard a lot of people talk about. Their kid gets to learn how to swim. That's one of the biggest things in the camp. And so if there's no pool, and I just don't see. Maybe I'm too conservative as far as that's concerned about taking a risk. And I'm sure there's people out there who feel that, hey, there's nothing wrong with my family, and Buchanan doesn't have very few cases. This is a perfect situation. It's just tough, but I agree with Nick that we can't probably wait. We've got to make some sort of a decision. So, yeah.
This is Cheech again. I would be willing to listen and see if anything happens over the next 4 or 5 days, and we can come back with this and then make a final decision. I don't have a problem with that. And the only thing also with the camps and the pools, when I grew up, we didn't have a pool. We went in sprinklers, so they can easily do sprinklers. I don't, that's just an aside thing. But I'd be willing to wait a few days on this. I would.
Yeah. We're not going to get, Nick, exactly. We're not going to get full attendance. I guarantee you that, even if we open. We're not, and I think we should not open the pool, and we should get assessed and figure out what we have to do to the pool, whatever that leak issue was. Anything we're going to do to that pool, we should start making a plan so that the pool's A1 next summer. I don't think we should even think about opening the pool. But, if we give this a few days to gather information and reconvene Monday and say, that's it, either yes or no. It sounds like the general feeling right now is this can't happen.
Yeah.
But since this just got changed today, I think it would be a good idea just to see how on earth this could work, if anybody else is doing it, and then we could make a final decision next Monday.
Yeah, I wasn't, this Dwayne Jackson, I wasn't, I thought certainly the pool was off the table. I think being able to do some repairs on it and take this time is more prudent for sure. And just like some sort of modified camp, minus the pool and with some precautions in, you know, like you say, we just got this from the governor today. So again, no pool under any circumstances, and you know, maybe give it a few days. Let's meet again on Monday and go yay or nay.
So if that's what the board wants to do, what we're going to do is I can have Nancy provide a game plan in regards to what she will recommend, what the cost and benefit would be, answer any questions from the board, how she's going to deal with cleaning the bathrooms. In the information that Stephanie sent this afternoon, actually says that you cannot share play equipment, so the kids cannot touch it, and they got to wear a mask. The kids have to wear masks. How are the camp counselors going to supervise that? That will have to be answered. So we can have Nancy address all those questions of the board, and then we have a dialogue on Monday night if you guys want to do it. We can do it during the day if you wanted to, or whatever's more convenient for the board. We don't have to do it 7:30 p.m. So whatever's convenient for the board, and then we can notice it today and have Nancy provide you with how she's going to deal with this, if that's,
hey, Marcus?
that's an option.
Yeah, Stephanie, I'd like you to your input too.
Yeah, I just wanted to listen. I sent you guys the CDC guidelines for camps in particular, so take a real good look at that. Because you didn't have a chance today. You know, I just sent it today when I heard the governor in his esteemed wisdom just say we're opening and good luck. But I can tell you there's been a couple of cases. There's not much caseload. There's been a couple of suits already. And it was employer versus employee kind of thing. And what they looked at, because it's so new and who knows, and liability issues and on, what they looked at was were they complying with the CDC guidelines, the FDC guidelines. And if you look at what I sent you today, you know, it's keeping kids in small groups 6 feet apart, keeping those same kids together all day, every day. Don't change groups. Washing hands, putting up signs everywhere. Don't touch or share objects. This is pretty, so if this is what the CDC is saying, then I think if you're going to look to Nancy to respond, she should respond to this document and let you know. I mean, to me, it just seems kind of impossible this quickly. If this had been, like you said, 2 months ago, you might be able to say, you know what? We've got a real good cleaning and disinfecting crew. We're going to come in, at 7 a.m. and then at noon when the kids are outside and then again at 3. It talks so much about if one kid gets sick, you must take them home kind of thing. And then quarantine and ask who they were near. It gets really...
it's a lot of...
And you're talking about little kids. Like, to me, I don't know how old your campers are, but let me give you a quick story, right? So I have a friend whose 25-year-old went down to the Jersey Shore this weekend because, hey, it's the Jersey Shore and everything's open. He lives at home. He came back and the next day was sick. And he's got a brother, a sister, a mom, and a dad living in the home with him. And he was immediately sick, immediately positive. And within, 24 hours, so was dad, brother, and sister. So they're all positive and they're all sick right now.
Oh.
So now when you go and get tested, I guess wherever they went tested, they asked him, well, who were you with? Well, he was with 5 kids in Jersey Shore. All 5 of them are positive. So this is what the governor is talking about, and this is the truth. And this is what the governor is talking about. One person, and you've got like 30 people right now. And then who were they with? Now the contact tracers are after them saying, well, now who are you with? So it gets scary. When you're talking about little kids, just for me, I think Nancy should look at that and tell us truthfully, can you do this? Can we pull this off safely? Just my thoughts, since you're talking about Nancy, taking a look at what she can possibly accomplish and how. That might get you guys some more comfort or the ability to say, yeah, no, that's not going to work. Just my thoughts.
I just don't see how safely to do this. It's not like the virus is completely gone. I just honestly don't see how we can safely do this.
Yeah, I think we should put it out there like this. The board is inclined to not open the camp, but we will give a few days to gather information before we make a final decision.
Dwayne here, and I certainly would want Wills in this conversation because, the disinfecting of whatever areas they're going to be using, whether it's in the pavilion or that type of thing, it's can we spare the manpower to clean everything on a daily basis?
This is Teresa. Dwayne, she has somebody special that she hires, Nancy hires for the camp, for cleaning. At the end of the day, the beginning of the day, this is another extra step. I mean, you're talking about somebody constantly cleaning. The kids are sitting at the picnic table. The kids are sitting here. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see how it can be done.
So what we can do is, if the board wants to have a special meeting on Monday, whatever time works for everybody, I think that gives enough time for Nancy to review the CDC regulations and provide us how she would do it, and also provide some kind of overall budget to do this, because it's not going to be cheap, because you're going to have to constantly clean, and you're going to have smaller groups with more counselors to review those groups, because before they required a certain number of counselors for the amount of kids, but now we're talking about smaller groups that have to be watched more constantly. I don't be a naysayer, but let Nancy thinks she can make something happen. Maybe she has a different idea, and let her present that to the board at a public meeting, and then at least we can digest it.
Hey, Marcus?
Yes.
This is Cheech again. I don't know this or not. Do they have a nurse on staff there while they're having camp?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, they do. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Is it a nurse or an EMT? I think it's an EMT.
An EMT. Yeah. We used to have Jane Hitney years ago. She was an RN, a school nurse. Now it's an EMT.
Well, so there's a lot involved. When the kids show up in the morning, are they going to get temperature scanned?
Mm-hmm.
That's another part to it. Sure.
Any sport like that, contact activities, any of the activities that involve contact can't be done. Nothing inside, like the rainy day arts and crafts project. It's got to be all outside.
It even goes
the
so
more
far,
we
Nick.
talk about it, the less likely it seems feasible.
It even goes so far to say that kids' belongings, when they come in the morning, all have to be separated. So get a cubby, get things locked tight. Jackets shouldn't touch, lunchboxes shouldn't touch. This is all in the CDC stuff I'm looking at. I'm thinking, wow.
Yeah, it's going to be very tough to comply with the CDC.
Yeah.
Well, I saw that, Stephanie, by the way. I was reading that, and I'm like, whoa. Yeah, that. And they seem to have everything covered, to be honest with you.
Everything,
but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, like I said, there's just so much of it. But, with that being said, let's just give it a few days, and maybe something can give. Let's just...
All right, so we can do something on Monday, if that works for the board, and just let me know what time you would like to do it, so we can publicly notify it, and also I'll tell Bob and Nancy to make herself available, whatever time works for the board.
Well, everyone email Marcus the time that works for them.
Something close to a regular meeting. We're going to do 7 or 7:30.
Want to do 6 o'clock?
Earlier than that's not really great for me.
Oh, okay.
And this is all that's on the agenda, right, Nick?
What's that?
This is all that's on the agenda, right, Nick?
That's it.
Okay.
Special meeting just for that.
Okay. Good.
So if you want Marcus to notice it, what time works? Does 7 o'clock work?
Let's do 7.
Nick, does that work for you, Nick? 7?
This is going to be a 2-hour discussion. This is going to be, probably done within a half an hour. There's going to be the facts are going to come out, the CDC regulations. Everyone review that, and then.
We need a little report on the finances. Are we going to be operating at a loss based on the current fees?
That's right.
Do we have a COVID surcharge because of the cleaning for people that want to stay in?
I don't want people to think this is I understand what you're saying, Nick. It's important for our finances right now, the situation, we are with the closure of Indian Point. But I don't want people to think that that's the total issue here. But so let me repeat again. The pool, we lose $50,000 a year. So, okay, we're not opening the pool. But the camp has to be at a certain number. The last couple of years we've been at about 200. So we're not going to lose that 50,000, but the camp would bring in money to help compensate for the loss of the pool.
Right.
So, so it's, and it's, it's like we don't make money like on the services we provide, but, we have to be aware of the expenses. I think that's the best way to say it.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Wow, 200. 200. Wow, I didn't realize it was that much. Whoa.
Well, that was 2 sessions, right? That was 2 sessions.
I think that was Cindy.
No,
do you?
I believe that's each session.
Wow.
You had 2 sessions, though, right?
Yeah, but 200 each session, not 200 for 2 sessions.
So you need at least 10 counselors, if not more. What do you normally? How many do you normally hire?
Oh, there's a lot. We have a huge list.
Oh, 50.
Okay.
50 counselors.
50
Yeah, 40 to 50, I believe we hired last year.
for 200 kids. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that probably includes lifeguards and swim people and all that,
No,
right?
that's just camp.
Oh, yeah.
So you have one for every 5 kids?
Well,
basically?
Nancy.
Or every 4 kids?
You also
It
have
depends.
camp supervisors.
It's Cindy. It depends on the age group. Obviously, more for the younger kids, a little less for the older kids. You have a senior counselor, junior counselor, some CITs sometimes, which don't get paid.
What's the youngest age in the camp?
Kindergarten, going into kindergarten.
So what, about 5 years old?
5, yes.
About 5. And the oldest is what, Cindy?
They can come going into 8th grade. So that would be 12.
About 12?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I think it'd be 5 to 12. Okay.
Yeah, dealing with kindergartners and this strictness of the
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one.
would have to operate.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one.
10, 8, 9, 10, 12, but 4 or 5 years old. Eek.
Yeah.
Well, kindergarten, 5 years old. All right. Well, I could see where this is going, but let's just get the final presentation of the facts next Monday.
Cindy, just send a notification to the paper about the meeting, and I'll talk to Nancy tomorrow to get her prepared for the meeting.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Hey, Marcus?
Yes, sir.
Can all that information be like kind of written down and just sent to us so we can go over it before we even meet up on Monday?
I'm going to try to have Nancy, if she can get some ideas together by Friday to give you the weekend to review it.
Yeah, I do recall her sending an email, I think it was a few weeks ago, about something like that. Okay, as long as we get it before, that'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
All righty. So.
And I think that was all part of mine, so sorry about that. Next.
Oh, that's okay. All right, so Mayor's report. I just want to give you an update on Indian Point. As we all know, Unit 2 ceased operation on April 30th. All of the spent fuel, all of the fuel is out of the core and into the pools. So the Unit 2 core has no fuel in it. It all has been transferred into the pool.
Okay.
The other thing I want to discuss, there was an executive. What I want to say is the tax bills went out. There is an executive order by the state that we had to ask for to give us an additional 21 days without penalty for the residents to pay their taxes. So the taxes are normally due on June 30th for the village. Now this extends it to July 21st for the residents without paying a late fee penalty. So I just wanted to mention that. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you.
And I think you forgot the administrator.
Oh my gosh, Marcus, did I skip over you? You know, I want to tell you guys something. I absolutely hate doing Zoom meetings. It's very hard for me to get used to, like, you know, it's different. It's different when you're in a room, the dynamics, the energy in the room, the back and forth, the conversation. But I can't wait till we're all back together so we can just have a smooth flowing meeting with ideas and bouncing everything off. But this is
Hey, Teresa.
I apologize. Yes, sir.
Hey, Teresa, why can't we just bring our cars into the parking lot and yell?
I like that. I like that. We'll try that next time.
Okay. I'll bring the ice cream.
I apologize. I skipped over you. I was just so excited to say what I wanted to say. Marcus?
No problem. No problem. Just real short. Been good communication with the DOT. We got going back to Route 9A. The communication has been very good. The milling and the paving, I got informed late Friday that it's going to take place on July. It's going to start in July 1st.
Oh.
They had to finish some additional work. They hit some snags along the way in other communities, so they have to finish that up before they get to us. Which I was hoping, like the mayor mentioned, about the possibility of putting the sidewalk in before the paving was done. But then we got hit with another snag. The supervisor for the sidewalk project required a survey to take place before we could do any work on the DOT right of way. So that
they required a what?
A survey. That delayed it for a couple of weeks, so therefore we can't meet. I was hoping to have the DOT approve the grant, allow us to do the project, and then on top of that, it could have been the same vendor that's doing the paving and the milling work, and they gave us a proposal price about $95,000 to do it versus $150,000. So we could have saved money for the state as well, but I don't think we can meet that deadline. So the repaving is going to take place, and then we got to go through the whole permitting process in the DOT, and then probably, saw cut the blacktop, and then put the sidewalk in. So
Marcus, I would still move forward. I would still continue to move forward with it because this project, the paving has been delayed so many times. I would still keep moving forward with the sidewalk.
Well, I definitely will try to do that. So I just want to let you know that I know that the deadline has been kept on being pushed back because the milling and the paving, but they're saying they have to be done by the end of July anyway, unless the state gives them an extension. So I'll keep the board abreast of when that actual work is going to take place, so we can send an email blast out and put on our website. But the paving looks like delayed to July 1st.
Okay, thank you. What else do you have for us, Marcus?
That's it.
That's it? Okay.
For today, yes.
Okay, Trustee Zachary, we're going to start with you tonight. What do you have for us?
Okay, thank you. I want to thank the mayor for having that moment of silence at the beginning of the workshop. Some very distressing stuff going on all around the country right now. Unfortunately, while most of the people are demonstrating peacefully, there are some smaller, insidious groups that are making that look bad, but we definitely need to respect the people that are demonstrating peacefully, and not the looters, but the people that are demonstrating peacefully. We need to definitely try to have more compassion and more equality in this country, or we're not going to be heading in a good direction if we don't. Couple of things. I met with the people on the local waterfront revitalization plan at Lents Cove Park the other day, just to brainstorm ideas for the park as part, so we're kind of prepared next time we have a meeting. The LWRP is the grant with Cortland and Buchanan to study planning for waterfront use and access. Some of the ideas included a gazebo, which I've heard mentioned before. The mayor has mentioned that. Playground is a possibility. A wildflower garden is something that came up. A few placed picnic tables possibly a community garden. There were different ideas that came up, and we'll share those as we go forward next time we meet with the town and the consultants. That's another thing that's been going slower than it should be because of the COVID delays. I walked out the trail and down along the Hudson beyond Lenz Cove Park recently, and I have to say I've kind of changed my mind on, we talked about fishing, and it's a bigger mess out there than I thought. When I walked a little further and found several bags of garbage laying around. Some bags broken open by animals. And it seems that people are fishing and lighting fires out there. One of the ways they get around how many fish they can catch is by eating them before they walk back off the trail. So maybe the next workshop we can discuss further. I don't know what good it does to ban the fishing in the park, because that fishing is off of the park grounds. But I'd like to revisit that maybe at the next workshop. At first I thought, oh, it's nice, everybody's going to this beautiful place and fishing, but they're like yanking branches from live trees to light fires. The fires could be dangerous, so maybe we need to discuss it at the next workshop. Maybe we need to communicate with Entergy as far as an enforced ban on fires, even if not the fishing. You can't be out there lighting fires. That could be, in a dry season, that could be extremely dangerous. So I'm concerned about what's going on there. I don't want to get into that discussion now, but if we could hold that for the next workshop, I'd appreciate it.
Oh, boy.
Nick, it's Teresa. I have been in contact with Entergy, and my huge concern is you know, they're eating. That's fine, they're fishing. That's one thing. Cleaning up after yourself, destroying things is another thing. The danger of walking there in the dark. But I did pass on to them my concerns. If there is a fire that starts there, you know the terrain as well as I do. It's going to be very difficult to get in any firefighting equipment to get in there to put that out. It's going to be a major report.
Absolutely. That's a big issue.
Thank
we
you.
haven't had a real dry season this year, but you never know when you can get those conditions, and you know, we don't want to wait for that condition.
Wow.
So we could discuss that more at the next workshop, maybe. Okay. I also just you know, a lot of everyone's hopefully getting the stimulus money from the federal government, and my wife and I got our money, and I know if you need that money for your expenses, then it's very welcome, of course, and a lot of people need that money to pay bills or buy groceries. So I don't mean to belittle that in any way, but if you don't need that money, you know, the purpose of that is to help stimulate the economy. So if you don't need that money, go out and spend it. And if you don't need to do anything for yourself, use that money. You can donate to a food bank. You could give back in some way. You could donate to you know, some other charity that's hurting right now. So I'm trying to do that myself because, you know, everybody's getting money, and some people need it badly, and some people are fortunate enough to not be pressed for that money. So I've given to a few causes, one of which was a GoFundMe for a workmate that passed away from the virus to help his family. I gave some money to that, but you know, so if you don't need that money, I just saying let's try to give back in any way we can with that. Lastly, just a thought I want to throw out again. We could discuss it further, but you know, we're often doing the posting information on Facebook, on the website. Sometimes we mail letters. And I was wondering if we could do a survey, an online survey, maybe, and then, you know, give it a little time, asking people how they get their information, you know, so we can try to get an assessment. What is our best way to reach people? Is the only way to really reach a lot of people that phone call on an important matter like Code Red? If we put it on Facebook, are we reaching a quarter of the village? How many people really read the newsletter? So I'm wondering if we can, I can try to outline it. Maybe we'll bring it up at the next workshop. But I was thinking maybe we could do something to assess how people are actually getting their information, how much people are really even paying attention, because we know there's that small group that always follows what we do. But I suspect that a lot of people throw away the newsletter, don't really look at the mailings, and just be curious to know what, maybe that'll give us some insight as to the most effective way to reach people. Again, next workshop, I'll make up a little outline and try to come up with some questions to assess that. And that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Trustee Jackson, what do you have for us tonight?
Well, first of all, I'd like to give a big shout out to the Beautification Committee and everybody who was involved in installing the plants over the last 3-4 weeks. A lot of people have made comments to me about how nice that was, and were able to just get out of their houses and drive by and pick up plants in the circle, and that was a great thing to happen. And on that same note, as we're talking about Cindy and Sharon and all the work that they do, I think all our village employees are guys out working hard all over the village, and I think something to be proud of, that that work ethic is there, and that people, them out there cutting the yard, doing different repairs, and it's uplifting to us all that we have such a diligent workforce, and they're earning their money. So my hat's off to any and everyone in the village employment.
Here, here.
All right, thank you. Who do we have next? Rich Funchen, Deputy Mayor Rich Funchen, what do you have for us this evening?
Oh, thank you, Mayor. I attended with you and Cheech, and I think Dwayne was there for that memorial celebration. It was very nice. It's probably was the only one in the area. I think most places canceled everything. I understand why. We were able to spread out, and it was a nice affair, all right. I just like to bring up one thing on where the school budget is coming up to be voted on. So I have a problem with the way this is going on with the school budget, because it's really the wording of the first question, whether you're for the budget or not for the budget. It doesn't outline. It says your taxes are going to go up, and I might be wrong, but something like 2.6% or something, and they're increasing their budget. But the first question, when you're voting for the budget or against it, just says, well, whatever is needed, we'll make up with by taxing you, and it doesn't say well, how much of a tax increase is there actually, and we all know from the village that look at our tax increase. So if the school is losing that amount of money, where are they coming up with this money? And to me, maybe I'm wrong and maybe I'm reading it wrong, and I apologize in advance if I am. But it's very misleading, and they're not being upfront with us. And I think that the head of the school system should have met with the community, like we meet with the community, not just have a school board somewhere and decide these things, but outline in detail where he's getting the money to make up for the loss of that revenue from Entergy. So you have to vote. The other thing about this is that voting is supposed to be a private thing, yet they're telling you have to sign your signature on the outside of an envelope and date it. So, again, question that and how that's going to be done. We're a small community, and there's always a lot of gossip going along. So, I'm assuming one person opens the envelope and records that Mr. Smith has voted, and then another person writes down how Mr. Smith voted, or do they have a blank sheet? I think the information coming out of the school system, and I know people have told me, we'll go on the internet and look under the Henry Hudson, school site. No, that's not the way this should be done. The institution there has to come to the people and explain to them exactly what's going on. We as a board have been tortured about we're not transparent. I have never seen anything more not transparent than this school budget and how it's being put out and how people are voting on it and the mechanics of the vote on it. So that really bothers me. Don't forget about voting on the primary that's coming up and our village elections, I think, at the same time. And finally, I wish everybody a happy Father's Day coming up. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And Rich, yeah, I wanted to comment on the memorial ceremony. I had found out that they were having, the veterans were having a ceremony up in Peekskill. So I had asked them if they would mind coming to Buchanan to have a ceremony by the pavilion, and there ended up being socially distanced, 6 feet apart, masks. I mean, they did a beautiful job. I honestly feel going forward, when it's Memorial Day, I really feel that the veterans groups should really run that ceremony. It was John Donahue from the American Legion. I can never remember. John Donahue from the American Legion on McKinley Street in Peekskill. And we had Sean Murray, who was, our former mayor, and he's also in charge of the, in Verplank, the American Legion there. So they were both there. We had Phil Miller. He came to play taps. I mean, it was very, very nicely done, a very good ceremony. So I'm happy that the village could have that done, because believe me, these people give all. They give all for this country, and they should be remembered not only on Memorial Day, they should always be remembered and thanked. So thank you for mentioning that, Rich. Trustee Pasquale.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I hope everyone is healthy and well that decides to watch this or listen to us. And I'm going to continue to kind of thank our police departments, our fire departments, our highway department, all frontline workers, all EMS people, for everything they do till we kind of get back to some semblance of normalcy. And I don't know how everybody else is, but I find myself with so much more time to sit and think about the things that are going on, and just taking so many things for granted, like going to the store, going to the movies, simple things like shaking hands, high-fiving, talking to your friends. My God, I'm hopeful we never, ever go through this again, and it's nice to see that at least we're going to a different phase now, and hopefully we can get to some sense of normalcy, but who knows. But anyway, I also want to say happy Father's Day to all those fathers out there. And it's been a while, but I finally got a chance to sit down with Sergeant Farrell, and he kind of goes over some police incidents that I like to share with everybody. And he gave me some, and I'll highlight a few. On April 8th, approximately 1:20 p.m., Sergeant Farrell and Officer Reg responded to a report of a possible assault at a village residence. After investigating and viewing all parties involved, all parties declined to pursue any charges. The individuals involved agreed to voluntarily leave the area without further incident. And by the way, just speaking from experience, those are the best ways to handle that. On April 10th, at approximately 1:30 p.m., Officer Palmetto responded to a report of a domestic dispute at a village residence. After an investigation and interviewing all parties involved, it was determined that no crime had occurred. All parties were provided with proper information on how to properly proceed. And the last couple short ones, on April 11th, Officer Buddy responded to a report of a harassment at a village residence. After investigation and interviews of all parties, no parties wished to pursue any charges and no further incidents occurred. And finally, on 22nd of April, Approximately 8:28 a.m., Sergeant Farrell, Officer Buddy, responded to a report of an unwanted person at a village resident. On arrival, contact was made with the individual who agreed to leave voluntarily with no incident. No further incidents occurred. Thank you guys, well done. And I don't know about everybody else, but I sure do miss baseball, and I do miss the Yankees, and that's all I have to say.
All right. Thanks for the update, Chief.
Sure.
Okay, does anyone else have anything that you would like to add?
No, but could we just, Rich, you mentioned about the elections. Can we just clarify for everybody? That's the 23rd, correct?
No.
No.
When is the election?
No, the mail-in ballots, you should have received your mail-in ballot. It has to be in by 5 o'clock on June 9th.
That's for the school board.
That's for the school board. The
village elections.
The elections that were pushed from March 18th, I believe it's changed to the beginning of September now.
That's correct.
It is?
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
it is.
Yeah, that's,
okay.
I'm telling you, there's things
I
in
thought
such,
that they had moved it to June 23rd
Yeah, well, yeah.
original.
They keep moving things, you know.
Okay.
And could it possibly be that that the primary is the 23rd and our elections moved to September? Could it be two separate things?
Oh, the primary. Okay. So I don't. You might be right on that. That's probably why I thought it was the 23rd. The primary. I thought it was the same as the village elections.
That's what I thought too.
mistake.
Yeah.
All right. So we have the for the school board. You have to get your mail-in.
They have to
vote
get
in.
it by the 8th.
It have to be received, not postmarked. They have to have it in their hands. So that's a different thing too. Before you used to go by postmark. Now it has to be in their hands, not postmarked.
Marcus, that was broken up. At least on my end. Could you repeat that?
Sure. For the school vote, the ballot has to be in the school's hands by the due date. Not postmarked. So
which is the 8th, and the due date is the 8th, which means you need to get it in the mail in the next couple of days.
It's June 9th by 5 o'clock.
Right.
I'm at the paper here.
Oh, okay. So you really need to get that out in the mail before the end of this week.
Yeah, you
For
should.
that to work. Yep. The sooner the better. Okay. And then there are primaries for the state assembly position on the 23rd.
And I believe that's Nita Lowy's position too. Wouldn't that be the primary?
Correct. 23rd.
Yeah.
23rd. Okay. And the village elections are in September.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad we informed the public because I got informed too.
Yeah. It's just so much change, so many things going on. Okay. So, are we ready to go into executive session? Yes? Okay. I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss contractual and employment negotiations and issues.
So moved.
Second?